multiverse a zillion times. This part I still can't wrap my mind around.
Yes.
When Cap goes back, where is the Cap in that world? So when he goes back to the early days, is there still another Captain America in that world?
Yeah, so the way that it would work, right, is that when Captain America goes back, he would create a branch reality.
Right.
Okay? Now, he would exist in that branch reality with a second Captain America who is frozen in ice.
So the other Cap still exists in that world. So did
still
Peggy
exists,
not know that other Cap?
Well, that other Cap is frozen in ice.
And Peggy understood that he was dead at that point in the storytelling, because Cap went back to a point in time where nobody knew he still was alive, frozen in ice.
Now, it's also a story for another time, as of course, if he created a branch reality, he would then have to use a Pym particle to come back. Or this reality to hand that shield off.
Yeah. That's unbelievable. Well, guys, thank you so much for bringing this back to cinema. To me, the best thing is the theatrical experience. Seeing you guys at Lockheed on that gigantic IMAX screen, and then the aspect ratio is unbelievable. I just thank you guys so much for making movies that make us love.
Well, thank you.
Movies.
We thank the fans. I mean, it's been an incredible experience for us.
And last thing, is there something that people haven't noticed yet in EndGame? Like, I remember the Q&A.
I think I thought of something the other day, and now I can't remember what it is. But I was like, oh, nobody's got that yet.
Oh, I didn't.
What is it?
I don't know. Who knows? Somewhere online, I'm sure someone's figured it out. But there are a lot of little Easter eggs in that one. Like, it's very dense. EndGame.
It is, but also, I want to say thank you to you, Kevin, because. For as much as, Joe and I love making movies, we love talking about movies. That was our entire life growing up before we ever tried to make movies. So, the dialogue.
What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on the Marvel future, and also Captain America during EndGame has kind of been explained, I guess you could say, because still the Russo brothers and the screenwriters don't have one cohesive story. They still don't agree, but they did extend upon what was already said about the branched reality that was created. And yes, there was two Captain Americas alive in the same timeline. So if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. So in the video clip I played before, you hear the Russo brothers explaining their version of how Captain America was alive and was also in two places at the same time. So we had the current one, which was frozen in time. So Peggy thought that one was dead. She didn't know any different, but something was different. There was another Captain America in that timeline, which she married, and I guess you could say Peggy's kids were Captain America's kids. Damn, that's kind of creepy when you think about it. As Captain America kind of got with his granddaughter without knowing it was his granddaughter. But the weird thing is, Kevin Feige and Marvel have a plan generally that's 5 to 10 years ahead of the time. So did they always plan this really weird situation, seeing as Disney is supposed to be PG-13? Very weird situation. So yes, there was two Captain Americas in one timeline, which I don't even know why that was a big theory here on YouTube, because it's pretty obvious how it happened. But I think the initial explainer from the Russo brothers was not needed, and it was very confusing for some people because the screenwriters and the actual directors of the movie did not and still do not have one cohesive answer what happened to Captain America when he went back in time. So Peggy thought he was dead. So it must have been pretty weird for her when he shows up and is alive, yet there's still one which is frozen that not really many people knew about. Now, this is a very weird explainer from the Russos, if you ask me. And then later in the clip I played, they went one step further and said there could be a future story which would explain exactly what happened when he went back in time and exactly how everything played out. That would be interesting, but I don't really think Chris Evans would be interested in doing a kind of what if, I guess, prequel kind of story with the MCU. I'm pretty sure he is done with the MCU, but it would be interesting for maybe the Disney Plus streaming service. I don't really think they could sanction a movie based on just what actually happened to Captain America when he went back in time. It would be pretty cool. He does have a pretty strong fan base. But then we have to consider if he did actually create a branched reality, in order to come back and give the Captain America shield to Sam, he would have to get a Pym particle from somewhere, or else the whole kind of coming back, giving the shield to Sam literally makes no sense in how he would get back to the future, because he would be like, I guess, time traveling back to come back to the future. The Pym particle would need it because that's the only way that you can travel it in time in the MCU, or at least the only way they've actually explained it and showed us to it on the grand scale of things. So him coming back with the Pym particle, if he could get a hold of one, but the Russo brothers said he did, would create a branch reality. So him coming back would change the reality, and it wouldn't be the same reality that he had with Peggy Carter, which would in theory mean it never even happened. Now, I hope this is the last time the Russo brothers do an explainer. The only reason they did an interview is because Avengers re-released EndGame to try and beat Avatar. Then they end-tagged a really bad Hulk scene on the end, which has infuriated a lot of fans because they've made you go pay £10, £15, $10, $15 to go watch the same movie for a deleted scene, which isn't even a deleted scene. Because if it's a deleted scene, guys, it would have been fully CGI'd, fully edited, and it literally looked like this scene was not deleted because they had no intention to ever use it in the movie. So it was not a deleted scene. It was a potato scene. And I put a post up on my Instagram at Warstu, and a lot of people are triggered because they feel like they were robbed. A deleted scene that was literally nothing. It was nothing. It had no relevance, didn't add any value, didn't even add any context to the whole situation of Hulk. Now, they really did butcher the character of Hulk. Now, hopefully, they can bring Hulk back to its true reality, which was showing us how Professor Hulk became Professor Hulk. And that is what literally everyone wanted from this story, from this extra scene. But realistically, guys, everyone was very disappointed with this potato quality and potato version scene that Marvel, Disney, Walt Disney, one of the biggest companies in the world, would allow something like that to be tagged onto the end of one of their movies. It is rather shocking if you ask me. So, also in the news, I came across this pretty cool interview article that I want to go over. So it essentially says that Marvel Cinematic Universe has already laid the groundwork for Doctor Doom in the MCU. This past week, Legion and Fargo showrunner dropped the bombshell that his Doctor Doom movie still isn't technically dead. So is Doctor Doom coming to the MCU? Yeah, sure, bros. It's going to at some point when the Fantastic Four come in and when all the new characters that were owned by Fox and now owned by Marvel come through. So he said he met with Kevin Feige in Marvel Studios not too long ago. The situation got us thinking. The classical Fantastic Four villain is surely going to end up being one of the first characters introduced with a Fox deal. You would think that alongside Wolverine. Not because of the dollar signs that come along with the character, but because they've already laid the groundwork in the MCU without you even knowing it. Let's have a little bit of a history lesson. In Avengers Age of Ultron, which essentially did say that up there is EndGame, so everything comes back full circle. You know the Sokovius deal? Thanks in that part of the movie, after being disassembled by artificial intelligence, it's likely the country was nearly extinct in the wake of the attack. That's not even factor in the further devastation suffered just a few years later when Thanos ended up killing half of all life. That's how Doctor Doom not only manages to rise to power, but also serves as an incredible organic way to introduce the character into the MCU. Coincidentally enough, Sokovia, the fictional country Victor Von Doom, rules in the comic. Are they in the same general area? While the MCU Sokovia is portrayed to be in the southern part of Bulgaria and jump north, sandwiched between Hungary and Serbia, two countries directly north of Bulgaria. With as comic book accurate as Marvel Studio likes to be with the property, the most difficult part of this ordeal is trying to think of ways to change the remnants of Sokovia. At the end of the day, I suppose it could be as easy as the people want to rebuild in the new light. Or since Doom is a dictator, he could just change it to free will if he wanted. So that's interesting how a part of Victor Von Doom's kind of Doctor Doom's backstory is already being laid in the MCU. So courtesy to comicbook.com for that interesting article. So what is interesting is there's a movie currently going to be shooting very soon that has a very funny fake name. So this is reported by Christopher Marcus at hnentertainment.com. And it says the information is exclusive to them. The working title for the next big film is Sack Lunch for the Eternals movie. Now, this is a very interesting scene seeing is who's going to be in the movie. It's rumored to have Keanu Reeves, Angelina Jolie, and many other A-listers. Now, we know San Diego Comic-Con 2019 is literally weeks away, and they could reveal everything there. They could reveal the Doctor Doom movie, not really expecting that. They could reveal the Eternals, the Shang-Chi. As we know, they're already going into pre-production very, very soon and should start shooting later this year. Black Widow's already currently filming. So I'm expecting Mr. Kevin Feige himself to reveal most of the Phase 4 slate, but it is very interesting. So what I'm going to do with the videos nowadays is bunch 2 to 5 stories into one video and make it into one larger video so I can cover more content rather than bunching it into 2-3 minute videos, because that would just make things harder than it needs to be. So guys, like always, let me know what you think. Do you think the Russos are right about the branch reality? There being 2 Captain America, one being frozen, the other one not being frozen. I mean, it does make sense, but the logic is really flawed and could be debunked very easily. It is hard to believe and understand and trust what they are saying. Why? Because the screenwriters and the directors don't have one cohesive answer for what happened to Captain America when he went back in time. And do you agree that the groundwork for Doctor Doom has already been displayed inside the MCU? It is an interesting article on comicbook.com, so full credit to them. I think it would be pretty cool. I can't see Doctor Doom being introduced so early, but it is interesting that in theory the movie could still be made. So like always, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment. I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.